All right, so we're going to be adding a new feature to our podcast, which is a news section. We're going to fly through some of the headlines in the industry and let you guys know what's up and keep you on top of the ball so you don't necessarily have to look up all these articles yourself. So first of all, we are looking at the DTG printing market. Future Market Insights is now saying that it's going to surpass $1.8 billion by itself by 2032. The purchasing habits of consumers is the primary reason for growth, and the move to on-demand e-commerce has truly skyrocketed this industry. Gavin, what do you have?
So, SNS Activewear is getting sued. So, there are 8 former employees that is taking SNS Activewear to court, and they are claiming that SNS Activewear created a hostile environment by allowing rap music to be played in their warehouse. These rap music had sexually graphic content, and these employees are taking SNS to court. Now, this was taken to a court before it got dismissed, but a new court has picked it up. Depending what happens here, this may affect the whole industry and how other suppliers react and create their workplace environment. Wow,
that's crazy. In other news, Sanmar just continues becoming one of the biggest distribution networks in the United States. They are now opening a 1.1 million square foot facility in Ashland, Virginia. And so this new facility is going to be about 16 miles north of Richmond. It's going to allow them to continue their process of creating a 2-day ship to absolutely anyone in the nation. And it's exciting to see the industry be so confident in expanding.
So the digital textile printing market is anticipated to reach $8 billion by the end of 2029. All right, so this market is exploding right now. This is according to FMI, Futures Market Insight. Here's what they said. Now, digital textile printing market, the size of the market is $2.7 billion as of 2022. The revenue forecast in 2029 is expected to be $8 billion. That's a growth of 16.3. All right, so what this is just the whole digital textile printing market, and DTF and DTGs come into this. This is prime for growth.
Wow. Yeah, that's fantastic. It's exciting to see the industry have such a big, bright future. In some upsetting news, an Arizona screen printer has lost $18,000 worth of equipment in a burglary. A community is rallying behind Cream Design and Print after the Tucson, Arizona-based business was hit by burglars. They stole $18,000 worth of equipment, inventory, and computers. We're going to link their GoFundMe. So if you feel like you can help them out, please feel free to do so. And that's the news. Thanks for listening. Hello and welcome to Building Your T-Shirt Empire. My name is Cole and this is Gavin. Gavin, say hello to the people.
Hey, what's up, people? It is Gavin here, founder of Seps.io.
So this week, we're very excited to have Ross is in charge of ROQ. And Ross, if you could just give us a quick overview of what you do there, I'm sure everyone would love to hear about it.
A quick overview. That's a big question. I'm Ross Hunter, president of ROQ US. I run a company, just like all of you listening to this podcast do. So what I do is, I guess, a very complicated answer. I try to be a good leader. I direct our team. I come up with vision for the business and where we want to go in the future. I deal with big problems, which is always the fun part of being a leader of a company, and focus a lot on our culture and make sure that we've got great people having a lot of fun, helping partner with other folks in print. That's the skinny of it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like just kind of knowing you for 7-8 years at this point, your kind of rise throughout the industry has been really interesting to watch. Could you give us an overview of, the shop that you had on your own years and years ago, and then that transition into being able to be the president of ROQ?
Yeah, I'll do you one solid. I'll go a step further. So I actually got into this industry when I was about 17. So this was before college. I was running a high-end fashion, retail store. It was a streetwear store. We sold I don't know, Visu, Von Dutch. I mean, all that stuff back in the day, the $200, $300 pairs of jeans, fancy t-shirts. This was when 555 Soul came out and Milk Crate Aesthetics and all that really cool streetwear. I think screen printing kind of took like a change, right? And turned into this high fashion sort of space from a streetwear standpoint. And we had a little manual press in the back of this retail store, and we made our own clothes for the store. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. Like, we spent, $4 on a blank and some time making this t-shirt. We're reselling it for $40, $50 out on the retail side of the store. From there, went to college, got a degree in fine art, emphasis on printmaking. So I did this in school, tons of serigraphy, intaglio, lithography. And I had owned my first real business when I was 16. I had a little graphic design company and made like 10 grand. I mean, which was pretty cool when you were 16, I guess.
16.
It's not a Facebook story, but I mean, it was pretty cool for me at 16. And so once I got done with school, I wanted to figure out, how do I take this passion for art, and this love of business and put the two together, and ended up going into business with a college professor of mine, who was an investor, in a bunch of properties out in California, and saw what I was doing in art and kind of had this idea of making t-shirts. And so Reviation Industries was formed then, ran that for 11 years, 13, 14 employees, did kind of what everyone's out there grinding to do in our industry. Ended up having my son, and once he was about 2, I kind of realized I was a little checked out. I was playing golf a lot. I just wasn't thrilled in what I was doing at that point in life, and I needed a bit of a change. I needed to get out of Southern California. Hired a business coach, kind of worked through what my next phase of life was going to be, and came to realize that, part of that was selling and getting out of that business. So basically got out. I took a 3-month sabbatical and sort of just focused on me and my family and trying to understand, what those next steps were. And got a phone call from the YouTube celebrity, Mr. Ryan Moore, who I was actually one of his largest customers. So, in the time that I owned Reviation, we bought a ton from him, and we ended up becoming pretty close. And he said, hey, I've got some opportunities, do you want to explore them? And through that exploration, ROQ US was kind of born, and we, turned it into what it is today. So it's been a really fun journey all in this industry. I think people say, once you're in it, you kind of never leave. I definitely believe in that. I feel that way. I've been on the printing side. We developed an artwork program back in the day. I've taught, I've consulted, and now I'm running a business, getting tools and equipment out to folks. So it's been a fun ride.
So ROQ US, explain a little bit about what it's morphed into and what services you provide, because obviously you are not like ROQ International and you're instead the domestic side of it. What is it specifically that your team is handling besides, maybe just having the item delivered to someone's door? So
basically before ROQ US, ROQ was distributed, right? So when it hit shores, it's been about 10 years now, 10 years ago, it was solely distributed through Ryonet. And, there's a bigger vision for the company that ROQ International had. And, through some business development and time with the product, when I first came out here to start working on it, we realized that it really made sense to be a part of the OEM. That's when ROQ US was formed. So it really is a venture with ROQ International. And we are the United States and Canadian leg of their company. So we are part of the OEM. We're just the distribution part here in North America, essentially. And, our big goal is obviously to educate folks and to partner with people in their businesses and get tools in their businesses that are going to help them be more successful, save money, all that kind of good stuff. So by creating that focus and moving it out of distribution and more having that manufacturer distribution focus in the US, It's really, launched the product in a different way. It's marketed differently. I mean, we really had to pivot pretty hard when we first started, and we started 2 months after COVID
Oh my God.
hit. So, I mean, it was one of those really scary moments. And, it was actually kind of there was a lot of silver lining there, because it gave us the time that we really needed to focus on how do we want to market ourselves differently? How does this product show up in the market? Up until then, we had really kind of played a little bit more in a startup field. We were a really, fun company, which we still are a really fun company, but, really getting serious about the tool itself and saying, hey, we think we've got the best tool out there. How are we really showing people that that's the case? And, we've been able to grow, 300% year over year and 300% year over year again. And, you're starting to see a lot of green out there in the world. And so it's been a fun ride. I mean, I got to tell you, building a business with that kind of hockey stick growth and being a part of other people's journeys and seeing them become successful. I mean, obviously, both of you were ROQ customers, right? And Cole, you still are printing on ROQ. And so we've been able to be a part of your journey and be there as a partner. And, it's a cool experience to witness, one press to 2 to 3 to, obviously you've gotten into digital and other things, right? So just being a part of that conversation and being a part of your journey and everyone else out there that's got our presses has been really awesome.
Yeah, I think last time we checked, we were around 4.5 million impressions on our autos combined. And I'm sure there's people who blow that out of the water compared to me, but they are pretty great presses. I would love to hear your opinion on kind of the differentiators on the presses versus what must be your main competitor, M&R, and how you guys kind of tell that story to people who are looking to purchase, besides just saying that there's different colors.
Hey, that color's important. That color's important.
It is a good color. I love when every once in a while when your clients, when they paint their entire shop, like they'll do like a glossy concrete and then they like take the exact same green and throw it on the walls and stuff. Yeah. That looks amazing when the entire shop matches the press. There's a few places I've seen do that and it looks beautiful.
Yeah, we've got some diehards out there. I've got people with painted floors, painted walls. I mean, it really is incredible. It's interesting, right? So from a technical aspect, which there's probably a lot of different technical aspects, but I think the biggest one is setup times, right? Our presses are level, they hold registration, there's no deflection. Our pre-registration systems are dialed, especially for folks out there that have any sort of direct to screen or, laser to screen systems. It's a big time savings. And so I think that, that's the number one just difference from a technical aspect. For me though, it's beyond that. When I want to say rebranded, we rebranded with our heart in mind. And this may sound hokey to people listening, but the whole partner and print concept, truly is real. Like, we are constantly innovating. We're constantly growing off of feedback that we're getting from the people that are using these tools out there in the field. We're making changes based on what they need. We're flexible. We want to work with people. I think we've got really good service and support. I think it's all of those other things that are really making the big difference. I mean, I have nothing negative to say about any of the other brands out there. At the end of the day, they all print shirts, right? They do it a little bit differently. Some say they do it faster than others. I mean, at the end of the day, you can only print as fast as your people can move. So I never move. Or want to move. So I never buy into all that. I think it's all about ease of use. And I think it really is, do you have a relationship with the company that you're buying from? And, at the end of the day, for most people out there, buying a press or digital machine or folding line, it's the biggest purchase they've made outside of buying a home. That's a big deal. And you want to feel good about that purchase and know that someone's got your back. And I think that, what I'm instilling into our team and hopefully they're out there executing on is that we do have your back, that we are that company that's going to answer the phone. I mean, that's the goal, right? And we want to partner. And so I think that is the big difference. And that's really where we're trying to thrive. We've got this year, actually, our entire business plan was built off the mantra of providing a green glove experience. And so our whole operations team, revenue team, all of our goals this year really lend themselves to how are we providing that? How do we create better platforms? How do we make it easier for our partners to get in touch with us? How do we make that process make sense, right? And so obviously there's always room to grow. We're not perfect, but it is our focus. And I think that is a big difference is, a lot of companies' focus is revenue, EBITDA, and while of course we have to make money, we have to pay people. Our main focus is not that. I feel that those numbers will come on the back of treating people fairly, providing great service, and doing the right thing. So that's what I'd say is the difference. I hope that helped answer your question. It's a little bit more of a 30,000-foot view answer to it. But
I think, for me it does. And I actually would like to add this to it. The whole thing about relationship and community, I think you guys in the industry created the model for it, right? So for example, if you take somebody like me that came into the industry, I came into the industry, when I first looked at the industry, it wasn't something I really wanted to get into because it felt like, there was not a place for, say, somebody like me. It was more old school. But once I started looking at, say, Ryan Moore on, like you mentioned, on social media, it felt cool. And it felt genuine, right? And once you get to know them and build the relationship stood this test of time and building the community. And I think it is the best approach to building business is through just relationship. Because if you cool with that person, even if it's not on a personal level, making that decision to do that transaction is so much easier, right? Because it's no longer a transaction with just somebody that you doesn't know, because that person has a relationship with you. They likely going to try to take care of you if something does come up. So it's really a powerful thing that you guys are doing.
Yeah, and we haven't had people really transition from ROQ out of ROQ. There's been there's been two, and one came back. So one left. Went to another color of press and then, came back around. The other one had a legitimate reason, and I'm happy for them. And, they've grown their business and they've done really well. And it was the way that they worked. And we didn't have a solution to provide to them for the way that they wanted to work. And, that's okay. That's, you're not going to be the right fit for everyone. But what's neat about what we've built is, since building ROQ, we've been able to, do quite a bit of philanthropic work. We've launched a complete nonprofit, Unite Together, which has been going well. We just got done donating an entire screen printing shop, including computers, blank t-shirts, the whole nine, to an underprivileged school in Oregon. We donated to another school out in Texas, an entire screen printing shop. The kids needed help and they were working on grants and stuff. So building that community, it's bigger than that, right? It's how do you get people involved? How do you get them passionate about the industry? How do we give back to the industry that we've created and make sure that everyone feels like they have a place? Whether you're a manual printer that is intimidated by getting into this, or you're, a huge multi-auto operation that wants to get into it, or just someone that's passionate, right? How do we create a spot that people feel comfortable? And that's been our goal. And I think we've done that in a lot of different ways. And it's been cool to be able to use the platform of ROQ and our success in the industry to be able to create, these other programs and other, nonprofit kind of businesses out there that are able to help other folks as well.
Speaking of building a community, you just recently had the ROQFest event at your relatively new facility. I know you've had it maybe a year or so. But
it's been 4 years and we never.
It feels like it's still new. You're always moving in. So tell us about ROQFest, how it went, maybe the future of ROQFest. It looked like a lot of fun, and I wish I could have gone, but I'd love to hear kind of your thoughts on it and what you might be doing with it in the future.
Absolutely. I will start with it was hot, and that was a massive oversight. Our part, the time of year that we had it there in Florida. But it was a lot of fun. We had about 230 people register to come. There was a hurricane moving
wow.
in off the coast, I believe, of Cuba, and so we only ended up with about 90 people that showed up. I think that there was some intimidation there of that storm, and probably the fact too that school
Yeah.
just let out, so summer had kind of started, but we had over 20 vendors show up. My goal of this was I guess threefold, right? It was to have an open house. We haven't done anything in our Florida location yet. It was also to kind of test like how can we have a more intimate trade show without it being called a trade show, but have other vendors show up that can actually have conversations with a smaller group of people that are all kind of there for one purpose. We had 20 vendors out. We had Vastex, Lawson, Lane 7, Sanmar, Avient. I'm going to forget people, and I apologize, but 20 different vendors show up, and we basically created an aisleway. And they all had 10 by 10 or 10 by 20 kind of spaces. And we created a passport card, kind of like going to different breweries or wineries and you get your stamp. And then at the end, you turn it in and you get something for free. And so we were giving away $500 in a raffle for everyone that turned in like a full passport card. And so it really influenced all the people that did show up to go to each vendor, have a conversation, which was actually really well received. We had demos, we had some speaking, we had food, we had live music. In rock fashion, of course, we had some drinks. I think at the end of the night, an ice bath was pulled out, and a couple people jumped in there, Matt Marcotte included, so that was cool to see. And Dave Eggers jumped in there too, so it was neat to see a few people take their first ice baths. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was an all-day event. Our planned future forward, I'd like to have one in our Chicago location, as well as in Made Lab, Texas, where we've got quite a bit of machinery. So I think next year we'll probably see 3 different rock fests, one in each of those locations. And the goal is to be a little bit more education forward, moving into those locations, really teaching people things that they want to know, having other vendors show up, talk about, different ways to print their inks, or, how their fabric works with printing, how to, cut down on operational costs, that kind of stuff. So I'm really wanting to get business education focused with some of these. And this one, we had a big auction. That was also kind of a big deal. We auctioned off about $2 million worth of refurbed equipment.
Wow.
Which it went well. We had some people fighting during the silent auction, so it was fun.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Made Lab. What's kind of your vision and partnership there? I love that facility. And so how exactly are you guys using Made Lab and helping them grow?
Really for us, we put equipment into the Made Lab Texas facility, just like a lot of other, vendors have. Their testing facility, they're running testing for some of the blank manufacturers, some of the ink folks, right, on their new products. So I think that's kind of the core of their business. And, they approached us, they wanted to do education. We said, great, we'd love to have a platform for people to get educated. And so we launched a Made Lab Florida class, which I think is happening maybe once every 3 months. They've got a Made Lab Texas class, and it basically takes you through the entire process from an automated, vantage point. So you're using, laser to screen technology. They're making screens. You're going on automatic presses. You're using, pre-reg boards, going through, angles and pressure and, different ink styles, special effects printing, that kind of stuff. We've done one out in our Chicago location as well, so we're hoping that kind of gets some traction. So really our partnership with them is in education. They do some private consultation, which is nice as well. So Miguel, who's doing a lot of their consulting work, actually went through our tech training course and got, trained in School of Rock by our technicians for a couple weeks. So he really is familiar with our equipment when he goes out. So it's an opportunity for people to buy new equipment from us, to utilize them, post install, and get some more advanced training on how to create their screens, how to set up jobs, and move forward.
Have you?
Yeah. So
go ahead,
Ross, to me, it looks like you've been able to use T-shirt. You've leveraged T-shirt to build your career, take care of yourself, take care of your family. You had a shop. You are the president of one of the most well-known company in the industry, right? So T-shirt has been good to you, right? What do you see right now because from what I see, the industry's changing. There's a lot of digital stuff coming into the industry. Like a new person that's like thinking about getting into this industry, even like consider this industry? What's the outlook of the industry from a screen printer's point of view or a garment decorator's point of view? What's that look from what you see?
So it's kind of a loaded question. I'm going to start with this year. This year's been tough. We all came out of, hockey stick growth last year. Printers, distributors, ink manufacturers, the whole nine, right? Everyone had a great year last year. And I think we've seen, a massive settling in the market this year. I think there's a lot of uncertainty. However, this month we're seeing printers really pick up. I think, the end of last year, Q1 of this year was a little uncertain. I think people are just kind of getting used to the fact that there's going to be uncertainty, right? This looming recession. We've got elections happening. I mean, there's a lot of different impacts here economically that are going on. So it's an interesting time. I think lots of people are flat, lots of people are down a little bit, but we're hoping by August things will really start to pick back up and be, back to somewhat normal. But I don't think that we're going to see the growth that we saw last year from anyone. I think, people, may get back to that normal 5, 10, maybe 20% growth in some cases. In terms of technology, it's interesting. I know screen printing will never go away. We've got DTF technology coming into the market, which is great, and it has a place. We have digital, obviously, coming in the market, and it's great, and it has a place. If you go to these really, really large businesses that are decorating, you're going to see lots of screen printing, digital, and DTF all under one roof. And they're the ones that are doing it well. And they use all three of those technologies for different reasons based on what the client's needs are. And so, you're never going to print 10,000 shirts on a DTF or a digital machine. You might do 10,000 on a hybrid, right, to eliminate screens. So you're still screen printing. You're just adding a little bit of technology in there to eliminate some screens out of the picture. DTF is great for the direct-to-consumer market. It's fantastic for those small run orders. I think the technology's come a long way. I think they still got a long ways to go on the inks and the hand and the feel of the way that stuff's printed. There are some people that have broken through that already and are getting more screen print hand feels on the shirt. But digital is a direct-to-consumer play. I think it'll always be a direct-to-consumer play. I think that market, again, skyrocketed during COVID because people weren't out. They weren't shopping. They wanted a T-shirt printed that showed up at their doorstep. And I think, again, that's kind of leveled out. And you've seen screen printing, stay pretty consistent. If not, in some cases, obviously grew last year. We'll see what happens towards the end of this year. But I don't think anyone should ever worry about getting into the apparel decoration industry. I think that you need to think about your business and what tools you need for the clients you're selling to, and start with one, do it really well, and then add. The biggest mistake I see a lot of printers out there make when they get into this industry is like, hey, I'm going to get into screen printing. They do that for 6 months, and then they add vinyl, and then they add DTF, and then they add embroidery, and now they're trying to be everything to all people, but they're not really great at any one of those processes because they are processes. You have to learn them, you have to master them, or you're always going to put up subpar quality work. But I think that there's always a place for screen printing. I don't think it'll ever go away. I think it will continue to automate, though. I think over time we'll see new inks developed. We'll see things added to our big round machines that make stuff easier, that make stuff more automated, ink delivery systems. I mean, things that will change kind of, your operations up a little bit and will help save people money more, but I don't think it'll ever go away.
We see some of these, this is maybe kind of like future talk, but, we see some of these things where we're seeing like Tesla show a robot that can carry around boxes. And we've seen that kind of stuff out of Boston Dynamics also.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously we don't need humanoid looking automation, but you guys have like the pack line where literally the only job someone has is to place the t-shirt and it just comes out completely finished. Do you see that same sort of automation coming with the printing and drying process where instead of a team of 3 loader, unloader, catcher, there might actually be some sort of inline solution to that with either feeder arms or however it might be done? But is that
100%.
That's on the horizon?
I think it's on the horizon. I think, M&R has done a good job already working on it. I think that there's a lot that can be added to that technology. I've seen it work. It's impressive, right? I think everyone in this digital world kind of pivoted. So when you're talking about development, right, companies like us, companies like M&R, Kornit, I mean, all these big players really had to pivot to this direct-to-consumer model, which I think took up the majority of everyone's engineering. All of that got poured into digital. I think that, digital's not 100% where it needs to be yet. I think there's still work to be done there. I think a lot of it's on the chemistry side and the ink side, and there's some hurdles to overcome with printing across all different types of fabrics and, again, getting that hand perfect so it really feels like a screen print, right? And those are things that, we're still in development on. I know all of our, quote, competitors, end quote, are in development on too. But I think that that's the next evolution. I think you will see auto unloading. There's companies right now creating automation at the end of dryers that will actually stack for you at the end, so you can eliminate that person on the end of the dryer. It's newer technology. I don't think it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think in 5 to 10 years from now, you're going to see a lot more robotic functionality, both on press, at the end of the dryer, and then you'll be feeding things like our folding lines where you still need a human, right? But it's automated for the most part, out of the door. There's a lot of companies too adding conveyor systems. A lot of these larger businesses that we go into, they're really thinking, how are they getting product from A to B to their dock? Right. And so there's a lot more thoughtfulness going into operations in an industry that, quite frankly, has been fairly artistic for, centuries, however long it's been. We haven't really done a lot. I think that you're going to see a lot there and you're going to see a lot in the software side. I think we're very much missing warehouse management software. No one's really, we've got great products for the entry level business. Up to a few autos, call it the $10 million, down. There's a gap here. And everyone that's running, 20,000 shirts a day and more, everyone's having to develop their own software. And they're kind of like, just getting through it. Whoever wins that race will have something really special out there. So if you're listening and you develop software, there's a huge opportunity in the screen printing industry.
I've seen some software that was proprietary where it's, just their own facilities that just blows it out of the water. Like what we're doing with the stuff that you're paying $250 a month for and what they've developed, which sometimes has cost them well over $1 million in development, is phenomenal stuff, and it's just so much better than what's currently available publicly.
And someone needs to box that up and unhide their secrets. I mean, there's still some of those walls up in our industry, but and I've seen some of that software that you're talking about. It is incredible. Whoever decides to package it and put a label on it and make it available to the masses, I think will be doing an incredible thing for our industry and helping a lot of people running their businesses better, but probably have a very lucrative business model overnight.
Yeah. Talking a little bit more about, digital and screen printing and where they meet. We just spoke with Supercolor the other day, and they do screen printed transfers where they're doing a digital print, and then they have some sort of automatic registration where the white layer is actually screen printed water-based layer, and then it goes out. That reminded me a lot of kind of what the ROQ hybrid is supposed to be. How is the ROQ hybrid evolving, and how are you seeing that kind of compete in the world of not quite DTF, but more direct to garment, but at least having to have that same level of output while also trying to retain the feel of screen printing?
We started development on that machine, probably 5 years ago. We showed it 5 years ago. It was not where it needed to be, and we kind of stopped and behind the scenes spent, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of man hours, in engineering, really working on the development of the system. And it's not until actually this year that we were really ready to start to market it, advertise it, and get it out there. It's a complicated machine. Buying digital in this industry, especially at that level, it's like buying an airplane. You've got to be ready for it. You've got to have, maintenance people on staff. You've got to be ready to take care of the machine. We've now got it to a point, Eric at Night Owls, I think I talked to him a couple weeks ago. He just ran like 10,000 units on his. Really cool to hear.
Wow.
It's performing. We've got, the speed up there where they're running, I think, close to 300 an hour, and it's eliminating screens for them. It's allowing them to get photorealism, feels like a screen print. We've done a lot of development in our inks. We've done a lot of development in our pre-treat. We're continuing that development because it's not 100% there, right? Until someone's putting plastisol through an ink, through an inkjet printer head, there's still development to be had. I see that machine is really fitting two markets, right? It's people doing a lot of high color output that want to save, the man hours on screens. And I see it in the high fashion place on the opposite side of that, where we have like 12 ounce Profit, who's really trying to push the limits of high fashion printing. They're selling, their t-shirts are selling for $160 a shirt coming out of there, and they're mixing digital with screen print with special effects, and again eliminating screens, but able to kind of push the boundaries of what printing really is. And I think that that's really cool. So again, with hybrid printing, I think that there's a place for it. I don't know that everyone's going to have one. I think it's really business specific, and it's for folks that are either trying to do something different and push the limits of what apparel decoration is. And I think it's also for people that are doing a lot of high output, high color work that don't want to have the setups and stuff. But it's expensive, the ink's cheap, but the machine, it's a big investment. And you've got to have the investment in people. You've got to have a maintenance person around. We train on that. We'll send people to Portugal to work with our engineering team. We're here to take care of folks that want to get into it, and we'll spend the time, necessary. We typically will even have a tech on site for about 3 months. So when someone gets one of these, we're leaving someone there, or we're switching people out to really ensure success on these machines.
I remember
when
you guys was developing that. Actually, that was pre-COVID when I took a trip with you guys to Portugal. I seen that thing probably the first or second version of it. At that time, it looked really good, and the thought that was going in my mind at the time was like, wow, I could literally just run this business by myself if this thing really takes off, because all you need is one screen or a couple. Just put the base down and you're good to go. So that was that would be super cool to see that one plays out, where of course get the price down, where even if it's not the little guy but the mid-level guy could get it. Once you start hitting a couple of $1 million in your business, you could start to get into that machine. That would be awesome.
I think we're definitely there. I think, again, if people are doing that high color work and they're doing it a lot, the ROI is there. It's just, working with us or working with our team to understand how we make you that money back quick. And if we can get there mathematically, then, hey, it makes sense for folks for sure.
One question I have real quick about the ROQ hybrid. Do you have issues with 100% polyester and stuff because of the base you have to use?
Yeah, there's still, you can use blocker bases. 100% poly is still tricky. But we're getting there, man. It's all just in that ink technology and testing until, certain things will print fine. Other colors, just like in screen printing, are a challenge. And so it's a constant development.
On the other end of your customer spectrum, can you let us know a little bit about what's going on with the fit and what you're seeing with that initial transition where somebody goes manual to auto and then they're shocked that 200 shirts isn't a big deal? Tell me a little bit about, you've seen that over and over and over and over again. How are you helping those people, and how do you think those people can successfully navigate that transition with you?
So the fit was our first answer, right? For a lot of folks that are in their garage still, they're wanting to get that higher output, take that next step. It's been a great product. It's got limitations, right? You can't do more than 4 colors. It's a single operator machine, but it definitely, fits a mold for people taking that first step without having to, invest their, entire life savings or take out a second mortgage on their home,
how much
whatever
is it
the
roughly?
case may be. I think 42.
A week's pay.
A week's pay. So we are in development right now, though, and y'all see this come out in our Impressions Fort Worth. I always get confused. Sorry, Impressions. I started to say ISS there. Everyone changes their name every 3 years, and it's confusing. But we're releasing an all-electric press. So it'll be the ROQ E. When I say it's all-electric, it means it just plugs in, right? You don't need a compressor. You don't need a chiller. It does have an onboard compressor built in. It's a silent micro compressor that is the same that runs in our folding lines. And what's nice about that is you continue to have all the air operation that you want for, pressure and all the good stuff with your squeegees. So it's not running AC heads. It's still adjustable, which is nice, but we're eliminating the need for a compressor and chiller. So that's going to kind of be our next big play into that entry level market. And that'll come as a 4.8, a 6.8, a 6.10, and an 8.10. To start with. So, a decent fleet of those machines that are going to go out. So we're in we have 4 product releases this year, actually, believe it or not. So or 5. That's just one of them. We've got a product release for the DTF market, which is going to be an automatic heat press machine.
Cool.
That's built on the ROQ platform for a lot of those people.
Is it an accessory that goes onto the ROQ? Or is it?
No, it's a whole unit. It is
okay.
a whole standalone unit, yeah. So It doesn't have screen print arms on it. Instead, it's got ROQ presses on it. It'll do about, the time study right now, I think our bigger one does 400 to 500 an hour transfers.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. Super Colors involved in that one, so that's kind of a fun project that we're all excited about together. We've got another digital machine coming out, which will be a standalone digital. We've got automatic pre-treat machine that's an offline, so folks out there that have 20, 30 brothers and they're still just using a single pre-treat machine to run all their shirts through, we'll have something that'll increase that capacity to a few hundred an hour, so you can just blast through pre-treatment and be done with it. We also have a new folding line coming out, which is really exciting. It's called the ROQ Out. It's a very small version of our folding line that folds and packs all in one system. It will only do t-shirts. So
is that going to be a lower price point? Is that what you're trying to fit?
It is. So it's going to be a lower price point and a way smaller footprint. So our current machine, is over 35 feet if you're getting, fold and pack. This thing only takes up maybe 12 feet. I mean, it's a much, much smaller footprint.
Do you know what price point you're going to be trying to hit on that?
It'll be sub 100, probably. If I'm just taking a stab in the dark, somewhere around 75, 80, something like that. So it's, and it'll do about 500 plus pieces an hour, completely bagged. And it uses bags, so it's a little different than our current machine. So it's an automated bagger, so you put all of your poly bags, into the machine, and it folds, and then it shuttles in, and it actually inserts into the bag, peels off the sticky
Oh, wow.
doodad, right? Seals the bag and then comes out, and then you can add our label machine on the back of it. So if you're wanting to put a retail label or a shipping label, it's still modular, so you can add, that functionality onto the back of it as well.
Very cool. Yeah, doing it with a shipping label sounds amazing. You just throw all the mediums of a certain size on and ship it directly to clients.
And what's neat about it is we haven't been able to figure out a way to do branded poly bags. This will be the first time that we're able to do that, because we can take people's branded poly bags, and since it's actually going into a bag instead of on a roll of plastic, which is how our current packing line works, people will be able to throw, if you're printing for Redbubble or something like that, Redbubble has branded bags. You can put the branded bags in there and it'll function with that. So it's kind of, wow. And that's new. That's novel in the industry. Everyone that's doing branded bags right now is having to hand stuff. So this will be a really cool solution for that.
You better rush that to the market before somebody.
That's also going to be at Impressions Fort Worth. So we'll have the electric press. We'll have the new folding system out at Fort Worth. So, come see us there. We'll have a lot of new products showcasing. And obviously all this stuff will be at Long Beach next year. So if people are missing it this year, Long Beach will be the place to see probably all 5 units on the floor at one time.
What are you calling the all-electric?
The ROQ E.
What do you think of that name, Cole?
I think we'll probably play some.
I think you should call the dryer music. Adrian. Adrian!
I love it.
Well, yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of exciting new products coming. Since we know we don't have you for much longer, is there any additional events or contact information you wanted to share with the audience if they're interested in looking at your products or getting started with expanding through automation?
Definitely follow us on all the social platforms, ROQ.us, our website, ROQ.us. We've got an event page up there. It will show you all the things that we've got upcoming. We do have some sip-in prints that are going to be kind of a national event that we're rolling out here at multiple locations, where we just set up people that want to get their hands on our equipment, print some t-shirts, have a cocktail with us. So look out for those, because those will be regional and tons of different places.
Those are done at shops, you said?
Yeah, we'll have them at shops. We'll have them at some of our showroom locations, so Chicago, Texas, Florida, and then we'll be setting some up at shops. So Cole, if you guys want to host a sit print, let me know.
Yeah, I would do it easily. We're in Orange County, so we're like 30 minutes from LA now, and all of Orange County is right next to us, so we're easy.
Nice. So I'll have our team reach out to you on that. But yeah, visit us at ROQ.us and reach out to our team. We're always traveling, wanting to get out, visit people, and show how our solution can help you grow your business and hopefully earn your business and become your partner in print. I mean, that's what we're here to do.
Before you go, what's the latest book that you've read and that you want to recommend?
The last book I literally finished reading 2 days ago was Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. Fantastic book on leadership and having crucial conversations with people in your business. Realizing that people are just people. Just phenomenal author, phenomenal speaker. And I'm about to start a new one. Let me tell you what it is. The new one is Get a Grip by Gino Wickman. And this one is kind of about creating more of a traction type culture in your business and really getting an integrator into place to help really drive your business. So yeah, always be learning, everyone listening. Read books, attend seminars, get outside of our industry. When you do it, go learn how to market from someone that's not in screen printing. Go learn how to sell from someone that's not in screen printing. I mean, these are the best, and there's just tons of resources out there. So that's a great question.
Just
Thanks
got
for
it.
asking.
Just bought it.
That's one.
Get a Grip. That's going to be my next book. Thank you.
There you go.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much for all your time. And if anyone's listening and needs to look at ROQ, I've been with them since like 2014 for our shop, and the service is really fantastic. I know that there's times that they've lost money on me just because of their service. I guarantee you. Like, there are moments where I'm like, there's no way this is adding up for them. Thanks again, Ross. And to everyone listening, have a good day. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.